right, guys, we are going to review Acrobats. Yesterday, you were given this assignment to read and answer 7 questions. Today, we're going to go over that to see how we did. So when we're looking at a story or a passage, we want to make sure we're referring back to our reading strategies. The first thing we do in our reading strategies is underline the title, Acrobats, because it's going to help us to figure out what the story is about. The second thing we do is circle and label any pictures. Well, here's our picture over Acrobats, so I labeled it Acrobats. The third thing you want to do is read the questions and underline any keywords. So if I go to my questions, I'm going to read them and I'm going to underline any keywords. Now, I did this with my class yesterday, so they helped me to find the keywords that they thought was important that would help them answer the question. So when we looked at number 1, we said, according to the passage, what is one of the most exciting parts of the circus? Well, passage was a key word because they said that meant story and most exciting parts. This is going to help us answer the question. Number 2, the author gives a list of what's in the passage. Let me reread that, I'm sorry. The author gives a list of what in the passage. So list, passage, and you can even underline what, because that almost tricked me there too. Number 3, becoming an acrobat takes a lot of practice. What evidence from the passage best supports this conclusion? Evidence is kind of like clues that you find as you're reading. Passage, again, is story, and then supports this conclusion. So what clues from the story helps you to make your answer? Number 4, when acrobats first begin to train, they typically start at the trapeze. Then they develop a new skills. Based on this information, what conclusion or answer can you make about the trapeze? Number 5, what is this passage mostly about? What is this story mostly about? So when you are doing these, hopefully you underline keywords that were going to help you answer those questions. Number 6, read the following sentences. They use their leg and arm strength to climb the silks. Then they spin, flip, and twirl with the fabric. They have to wrap the silks around their feet or wrists so that they can support their body. It is a big feat. So really, we underline feet. And then part of that says, as used in this sentence, what does the word feet most nearly mean? So we decided to underline all of these things because most nearly is very key there. Which one is mostly around that word? What is going to tell us what that word really means? Number 7, choose the answer that best completes the sentence below. There are many tricks an acrobat can do. Blank performing on the trapeze or on a hoop. So now that we've done our 3rd step in our reading strategy, we're down to our 4th step. Our 4th step is to read the passage or read the story and write 1 to 2 word summary beside each paragraph. So this is 1 paragraph, this is 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs. So I need to write a 1 to 2 word summary over each of those paragraphs. Acrobats. Circuses can be a lot of fun. Usually there are popcorn, clowns, beautiful acrobats, and more. One of the most exciting parts of the circus is the acrobats. So when I read that, I thought about the 1 to 2 words that tell me what this paragraph's about. So I wrote down exciting and acrobats. Dressed in colorful costumes, these amazing performers fly over the stage on trapezes. Acrobats have to train for many years to do all these dangerous stunts. It requires a lot of practice. The trapeze is one of the oldest circus acts around. When acrobats first begin to train, they typically start on the trapeze. Then they can develop new skills. There are many different types of stunts that professional acrobats can do. So in this paragraph, I decided to write down acrobats train. And then some of my class said that trapeze was important too, because this is all about them training on the trapeze. Sometimes performers use big pieces of silk that they hang from the ceiling to the floor. They use their leg and arm strength to climb the silks. Then they spin, flip, and twirl with the fabric. They have to wrap the silk around their feet or wrists so that they can support their body. It is a big feat. So if I'm summing up this paragraph, I'm going to call it the silk act. So it's just telling me all about the silk. Acrobats also perform on the lyra, or aerial hoop. A rope hangs a big hoop, like a hula hoop, from the ceiling. Acrobats hang off the hoop to do different tricks. They can flip around the hoop or climb around it using only their legs or arms. This stunt also requires a lot of body strength. Sometimes two acrobats use just one hoop at the same time to perform. This is a very hard trick. So this paragraph to me is all about the aerial hoop. So far we learned about the trapeze, the silk that they hang from the ceiling, and the aerial hoop. Some circuses only have acrobats. In New York City, there is one group called Lady Circus. These women are professional acrobats and have been training for years. They put on shows every month that always have a big audience. The acrobats wear very colorful costumes they make themselves. People love their performances. Since Lady Circus is loved so much, the acrobats often perform at other events around the city. But whenever they do perform, they always need high ceilings. They have to hang up their silks and hoops. Silks and hoops. So if I'm summing up this, we can say Lady Circus because that's what they're called, or women acrobats. And then the last paragraph, even though it is a lot of work, the members of the Lady Circus love what they do. Not many other people can say they fly over the stage on a regular basis. So love job. That's how I summed up that paragraph. Now, if I did step number 4, my step number 5 is answer the questions, and step number 6 is to prove the answers. I kind of do both of these together. After I answer a question, I go and prove that answer right then so it's fresh on my brain. So let's look at the first question. According to the passage, what is one of the most exciting parts of the circus? The answer should be B, the acrobats. And if I'm going to prove my answer, I'm going to go back in my story, and it's right here. One of the most exciting parts of the circus is the acrobats. And I put a number 1 beside it, so I know that's where I found it for number 1. Number 2, the author gives a list of what in the passage? He gives a list of different kinds of tricks that the acrobats do. Let's prove it. He lists the types trapeze, the silk act that they do, and the aerial hoop. So he's listing all the different things that they do. Number 3, becoming an acrobat takes a lot of practice. What evidence from the passage best supports this conclusion? Your answer should be C. Acrobats have to train for many years to do all of these dangerous stunts. If I want to prove this answer, it's going to be right here. Acrobats have to train for many years to do all these dangerous stunts. Number 4, when acrobats first begin to train, they typically start on the trapeze. Then they can develop new skills. Based on this information, what conclusion can you make about the trapeze? Well, if we had to guess, we would think that the trapeze is the easiest trick to learn because they start with that when they're learning. And then they go into the ones that are harder and they take more strength to do. Number 5, what is this passage mostly about? Well, this story is mostly about acrobats and the tricks that they do in the circus. Number 6, read the following sentences. They use their leg and arm strength to climb the silks. They then spin spin, flip, and twirl with the fabric. They have to wrap the silks around their feet or wrists so that they can support their body. It is a big feat. As used in this sentence, what does the word feat most nearly mean? It means A, that it's a difficult thing to do. When I go back and I read this paragraph again and I think about feet, how they have to have a lot of strength and they're twirling and flipping and they have to wrap that around their feet or wrist to support their body, I'm thinking that it's pretty difficult. Not that it's boring or easy. And number 7, choose the answer that best completes the sentence below. There are many tricks an acrobat can do, blank performing on the trapeze or on a hoop. So what I would do is I would stick these choices into this blank spot. There are many tricks an acrobat can do, like performing on the trapeze or on a hoop. There are many tricks that an acrobat can do, so performing on the trapeze or on a hoop, that doesn't really make that much sense. There are many tricks an acrobat can do, but performing on the trapeze or on a hoop, that doesn't really make much sense in this sentence either. So your answer should be A.